Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that the older you get, the less tolerance you have for nonsense? The loud chewing, the coworker who talks just to hear herself think, your partner breathing like he just ran a marathon while sitting, and suddenly you're thinking, why is everyone so annoying lately? Or worse, why am I turning into a grumpy old woman? Plot twist, you're not grumpy, you're not broken, and you're definitely not crazy. You're just exhausted from managing everyone else. And today I'm going to show you the psychology behind why everything gets under your skin and how this has way more to do with boundaries than you think. Stay with me because the last strategy is the one that changes everything. The real reason everything annoys you. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain is wired to scan for threats. And when someone violates your invisible rule book, how adults should behave, how people should show up, how partners should act, your brain flags it as a problem. But here's the twist. You're not annoyed by the person. You're annoyed by the thought. They should know better. They shouldn't do that. They should be more considerate. And every should is a rule you wrote that they never agreed to follow. Now multiply that by 20 plus years of relationships, being the responsible one, being the emotionally mature one, being the one who keeps it together. And suddenly, you're not annoyed, you're resentful. And resentment is just unspoken boundaries stacked over time. And this is exactly what I teach inside my course on other people, because we don't have a resentment problem. We have a boundary skill gap. I'll link it below if you want to go deeper, but let's keep going. And before you think, okay, great, so I just need to be less annoyed. No. If you don't fix this at the root, annoyance turns into emotional distance. Emotional distance turns into coldness. Coldness destroys marriages, friendships, and your peace. So let's actually solve it. Strategy number 1, the 10-second reset. First, regulate your body, because when you're triggered, you're not rational. When you feel the irritation spike, breathe in on 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, breath out 4 counts. Do this 3 times. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is science for calm down, girl. When your body settles, your brain follows. You go from I'm about to snap to okay, I have options. This is emotional power. Strategy number 2, manage your expectations or suffer. Let's talk about the most dangerous word in your vocabulary, should. My partner should know I need help. My friends shouldn't cancel. People should have common sense. Every time someone breaks your rule, why, you suffer. Not them, you. Because here's the truth no one likes. You cannot control other adults, but you can control access to you. And that's where boundaries begin. Inside my course on managing other people, I teach you how to replace every should with a new standard, because standards protect your peace. Shoulds just fuel resentment. I once worked with a woman who hadn't spoken to her sister in 8 months. Why? Because she should have known she needed support during a hard season. She never asked. She just stewed. That's what unspoken expectations do. They silently rot relationships. Strategy number 3, the empathy switch. Now let's soften it just a little. Most of the time, people aren't trying to disrespect you. They're distracted. They're overwhelmed. They're unaware. When you assume malicious intent, your nervous system activates. When you assume neutral intent, it relaxes. Try this. What else could be true here? This doesn't excuse bad behavior. It just prevents you from torturing yourself over things that probably aren't personal, because most people are just living their lives. They're not thinking about you nearly as much as you think, and that's freeing. But here's the part nobody talks about. Sometimes you're annoyed because something actually does need a boundary. And if you don't say it, you'll keep stewing. So let's separate petty irritation from real misalignment. Strategy number 4, the perspective check. Ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this? Microwaving fish in the office? Probably a 3. Repeatedly dismissing your feelings? That's an 8 or 9. Not everything deserves confrontation, but the right things do. And when we hit midlife, it is time to stop swallowing the 8s and 9s. You don't need to control people. You need to decide what you tolerate. That's a boundary. Strategy number 5. Annoyance doesn't serve you. Real question, what are you gaining from staying annoyed? Does it solve it? Does it change them? Does it improve your life? No, it just drains you. And here's the power shift. You can choose your response. I don't need to control this. I can communicate what I need. I deserve emotional peace. That's not toxic positivity. That's emotional adulthood. Look, people are still going to chew loud. They're still going to talk too much. They're still going to exist in ways you don't prefer. That's not changing. But what can change is how much control you give them over your nervous system. Because here's the real glow up. It's not getting the world to behave better. It's getting so good at managing your own brain that other people's nonsense barely registers. When you understand that annoyance is just a thought pattern, not a personality trait, not a character flaw, and not about other people at all, actually, you stop spiraling. You stop narrating stories about how everyone is inconsiderate and you're surrounded by incompetence, and you start thinking, oh, my brain is doing that thing again. And instead of reacting, you choose. That's power, not icy detachment, not suppressing your feelings, not pretending you're unbothered, just emotional self-leadership. And that is a skill, one you can build and practice. So no, you're not becoming grumpy, you're becoming aware. If this resonated with you, if you felt a little seen, a little called out, or a little relieved, hit subscribe. This channel is all about understanding your brain so it works for you instead of against you. And if you're realizing that your annoyance is actually unspoken resentment, if you're tired of managing everyone else's emotions, then it's time to learn how to set boundaries the right way. Not the aggressive or the dramatic ultimatum way. And not the I'll just distance myself and hope they notice way. Inside my course called Other People, Stop Handing Them the Remote to Your Emotional Life, I walk you step by step through how to stop over-functioning in relationships, how to stop resentment before it builds, and how to hold boundaries without becoming cold or defensive. Because boundaries aren't about pushing people away, they're about protecting your peace. If you're ready to stop being quietly annoyed and start being emotionally powerful, the link is in the description. You don't need people to change, you need a new strategy, and I'll show you exactly how. See you inside.